Sarree's WWE countdown is over. After an almost year-long delay due to the COVID-19 outbreak last year, the 24-year-old phenom will finally head to the United States and debut with WWE in the near future. Yahoo Japan reported that Sarree is expected to travel to the US as early as next week. On January 17th, Sarree wrote on her Twitter account that the, quote, final process of her arrangement with WWE was now complete, which ends the WWE countdown branding she used for herself as a freelancer in Japan all throughout last year. Sarree's final match in Tokyo was this past Saturday, January 22nd at Shinkiba First Ring in Tokyo, a tag team match for the Beyond the Sea tag titles. She and former rival turned best friend, Yoshiko, formed a team earlier this year and captured the titles as Onikana, though over the weekend they dropped the belts to Arisa Nakajima and company boss and lauded Joshi wrestler Nanae Takahashi. She was supposed to participate in Ice Ribbon's Korakuen Hall tournament this weekend on the 23rd, but as of this writing she'd been replaced with Nakajima. Quote, the schedule for going to the United States has been accelerated and I can no longer participate, said Sarree. Sarree was originally scheduled to move to the US early last year, though the COVID-19 outbreak put the process on pause. She was able to reach a deal with WWE in the meantime, though, allowing her to wrestle as a freelancer with the phrase WWE Countdown attached to her appearances after officially announcing her departure from her home company, Diana, a subtle way of explaining to fans that while not yet a part of their official roster, Sarree would indeed head to WWE. When was the last question left to be answered? In the aforementioned Yahoo Japan piece, the reason for this sudden decision to bring Sarree to WWE has to do with WrestleMania in April. According to the article, a source explained that since WrestleMania will be held in Tampa on April 10th and 11th this year, any of the various projects that were previously pending in Japan because of the pandemic have started to move forward. The source claimed that Sarree is, quote, probably one of them, end quote. Another project that was delayed under the same circumstances last year was that of Jiro Ikemen Kuroshio, whose move to WWE was delayed for similar reasons. After a short delay, Kuroshio was able to make it to Florida late last year, and it's assumed Ikemen will make his NXT debut within the next few months. Upon arrival, Sarree will undergo medical checks and do a self-quarantine period before her debut at the Performance Center. A 24-year-old ring veteran. Though she's just 24, Sarree Fujimura has been wrestling for 10 years already. She initially wanted to join Neo Women's Wrestling, All Japan Women's legend Kyoko Inoue's company, though due to a number of reasons, Neo was forced to fold at around this time, closing its doors for good in 2010. Sarree never had a chance to try out for the promotion, but in July 2010, Inoue took her on as a personal trainee. She also began training simultaneously at Animal Hamaguchi's famed dojo with specific guidance from Hamaguchi's daughter, Kyoko, a two-time Olympic bronze medalist and multiple-time gold medalist wrestler in the 72-kilogram division. Sarree had her last match in Japan this past Friday night, dubbed Sarree the Final, at Seedling's Shinkiba First Ring Show, where she and rival turned BFF and rising superstar in her own right, Yoshiko, lost their Beyond the Sea tag team titles to Arisa Nakajima and Nanae Takahashi in the main event. Onikana's reign was short but revealing in that I'm quite positive these two have the chemistry to become the next iteration of the wildly popular Crush Gals, Chigusa Nagayo and Lioness Asuka. The two had their last series of singles bouts against each other in September, Sarree and Yoshiko, and they were no less brutal than any of their past encounters, which makes their tag team chemistry that much more interesting and dynamic. Down the road, these two will surely meet again, but the chapter between these two has closed for now. So, what's the big deal about Sarree? In ways, she's a throwback, all substance and passion. No flash, just heart, and one that burns like no other wrestlers I've seen recently. It's clear she was built to wrestle, or rather ironically, built to win or succeed. She wrestles with a clear insatiability, someone obsessed with winning over all, the drive we saw in athletes like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods. Does it sound like hyperbole? If so, plus if you haven't seen her wrestle before, just do it right now. Her singles battles with Yoshiko and Sendai Girls star Chihiro Hashimoto are every bit as good as some of the best wrestling Japan has to offer, female or male. Onikana's recent tag run in Seedling was Joshi wrestling at its purest, particularly in their matches with Arisa Nakajima and Ice Ribbon's Tsukasa Fujimoto this year. If Joshi wrestling had proper digital distribution, Sareee would already be a bigger name than she is now, but the available platforms are simply too small for the, quote, big type of wrestling Sareee employs. Also of note is that she has received big-time endorsements from stars outside the Joshi world, one that often stays separated from the male division of pro wrestling in Japan. Antonio Inoki publicly approved and supports her decision to move to WWE, for example. Masahiro Chono gave her official approval to use his patented STF submission hold. Jaguar Yokota served as one of Saree's main confidants before deciding to head to the US. The original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, held a presser where he handed down one of his masks to Sareee, giving her his, quote, tiger spirit, end quote. While ex-WWE storyline president Hisashi Shinma announced she will be the true representative of Yamato Nadeshiko spirit. For these legends to put their name on the line in support of another wrestler, let alone a Joshi wrestler, is not common. It's almost unheard of, really. Endorsements like these aren't common PR strategies, and for the likes of Inoki and Sayama to give her the rub with media present, the situation is already telling. Wrestler, let alone a Joshi wrestler, is not common. It's almost unheard of, really. Endorsements like these aren't common PR strategies, and for the likes of Inoki and Sayama to give her the rub with media present, the situation is already telling. And how will it turn out in WWE this year? What's most intriguing is how Sareee will adapt inside the ring, which all depends on who she's programmed against throughout the year. She'll shine with main event talents on any of WWE's top shows, and I imagine her paired against larger opponents, say Rhea Ripley or Reina Gonzalez, she'll impress as a giant killer type. The ultimate lesson here is that we should all have our eyes peeled on Sareee in WWE, because someone who wrestles with a passion that burns as though their life actually depended on it will always be, quote, what's best for business.